Hello, hey, good day to you. Well, it's another week of your most exploring, entertaining, and useful program, Take the Lead. And of course, there's no right frequency to tune into on your dial at this hour than West Africa Democracy Radio, broadcasting on 94.9 FM from the West Wing of Africa, the heart of Senegal, Dakar. Many thanks for joining the cruise and welcome to this week's edition of our youth magazine program, Take the Lead. I am your host. In today's episode, we are going to look at human resource management. Follow me for some intro. In the current competitive corporate ecosystem companies find themselves in, one compelling department that is deemed very crucial in assisting companies to optimize their goals is the human resource department. To ensure an operational stability within businesses and the practice of acceptable work practices at all times, human resource management looks at how organizations can properly coordinate, direct, hire, train, equip, and take away non-performing staffs from the team. But how do HR personnel combine all these roles to create an enabling workspace for employees? How do they outsource expertise to give hands-on and practical experiences to their staff in order to achieve a corporate competitive advantage? And what tools do they employ in the management of staff to allow the organization concentrate on other logistics for high productivity? Joining me in the discussion focusing on human resource management are my young, vibrant, and resourceful lady and gentlemen. Ms. Ife Yvonne Abbas is an HR personnel or media broadcaster at the Abuja Broadcasting Corporation in Nigeria, and Mr. Salia Koka is an HR personnel at the State Broadcasting Corporation, helping with procurement masters as well in Sierra Leone. They are going to help share knowledge on the key roles they play in the work environment, the relationship they build with employees and other organizations in optimizing corporate goals, and the clear answers they demand from prospective employees when conducting interviews for recruitment. They are my guests. Ladies and gentlemen, you are welcome to Take the Lead on West Africa Democracy Radio, broadcasting on 94.9 FM.
Thank you so much for having me on your program. And this is greetings from Nigeria. And I also want to commend you for being able to reach people from Nigeria and Sierra Leone to be on your program.
Thank you.
That's commendable.
Thanks for having me. I'm from Sierra Leone here, Salia Abukoka. And I must say a big thank you for having me.
All right. Thank you very much. You are welcome once again. So let me begin with you, Miss Yvonne. In a job setting, where employers are swamped up with taxes, bills, partnerships, and coordinations, for bigger business prospects, why is it very crucial to manage its human resource?
Well, let me start by saying that the most important asset any business person, any corporation should have should be their human resources, should be their personnel. So it's very important that organizations or corporations have personnel that can achieve or help them achieve their mandate. And I think that if you get it wrong from the get-go, if you get the wrong kind of personnel, then you can achieve your goal. So yeah, it's absolutely important that we have, the right staffing, the right people achieving the goals of a corporation.
Very interesting. So I'll follow up by asking Mr. Koka, as Ms. Yvonne put it, he said the key resource in any organization is people. Then I'll ask you, what are the key functions of the people in a work environment do human resource managers look at as a key factor in your view?
In my view, as Ms. Yvonne was just rightly saying, one of the key factors to be considered in the human resources in the aspect that has to do with the agents. They have to be effective, efficiency. It's very paramount for every staff member or employee to be efficient and effective and efficient. To ensure, because as you rightly said, the human resource there, the backbone behind every institution there is the human resource, which is the employee. The employees there,
absolutely,
they are the people who are responsible for the development of every organization. They are the backbone. So if you can have the right people at the right place, and it's not about putting square pegs in right round holes. No, get the right people for the right job. I think that might help an institution to grow faster.
That might help an institution to grow faster. So, Ms. Yvonne, in clear terms, how do employees develop or build a clear communication bridge between you as human resource personnel and also vice versa?
Okay, let me put it this way. Ideally, that relationship starts from the point of recruitment, right? If you're able to recruit the right people. But let me narrow it down to Africa. Let me narrow it down to Nigeria. Some of the challenges that human resources have in ensuring that staff put out their best is because of the bureaucracy that's involved in employment. I need to remember my counterpart. What's your name, Mr. Cooker? Yeah, Mr. Cooker has pointed out that putting square holes in, square pegs and square holes and round pegs and round holes is a vital. Now, that's something that we don't see a lot in Africa. We don't see a lot of people who are square pegs in square holes. Yes. So when you have that right chain of staffing, communication becomes easier because, of course, there's so many ways now that communication is done other than the conventional method that memos. We now have social media platforms, WhatsApp platforms, send clear-cut organizational goals to people. However, some of the lapses we find out are in people heading those departments. Now, let me give you a general picture. For my organization, I work in a broadcast institution, right? And I'm the HR there. Now, we have several departments in every organization. Sometimes the ineffectiveness of HR is louder when the heads of various departments don't collaborate with HR or don't translate HR's message where immediate staffing. So I think those are part of the hindrances that we have. Then also elaborated, in Africa, we have a lot of, other than having meritocracy, where people are in employment because they merit it, you have a lot of appointments given to people because they know someone who knows someone, and then you're stuck sometimes with personnel that are not even competent to hold the job. So I think these are part of the issues that Africa, I think, are the problems or limitations that HR has as a department.
So, Mr. Coker, based on what Ms. Yvonne is saying, you realize that it boils down to the fact that employees, even though they know their HR or they know the department, they are sometimes confused as to the kind of information or the right issues to bring to them. Can you help throw light on your roles as HR and the kind of issues that you expect employees to bring to you, Mr. Coker?
Yeah, as Ms. Yvonne was likely saying there, communication is very key in the aspect of employee. And also, it's also necessary for you as a to ensure that the aspect of autocratic command is not being played. You have to go down to the employees. We have some HR people who are always blunt in answering questions. They're always like at the high heels there. You have to come down to them. That is why one key thing that is to be considered is the employee manual. You have to give them an employee manual and editorial guideline. Every employee should know what guides the principles of the institution, what the responsibility of the organization, what the responsibility of theirs at their own very end. So they should know their rights and responsibilities. When an employee knows the editorial guidelines and the manual of the organization, sincerely, in not every cases that they can fall victim over the lapses of the organization. For example, let's say now, I fall victim in my office because I don't know the employee manual editorial guidelines. I might be given a punishment, or now we have a memo, but we give a punishment that is not due to me because I don't know the principles. I might be given a wrong decision, which of course I might succumb to. But if you know your responsibility, your role as an attorney, it bridges the communication line to the HR there and you as the employee. And also as a HR, also there should not be a barrier. Of course, there should always be a thin line, but communication, you as a HR, you should know how to communicate with the employees there. We have, let's say, we have a form of communication there. Now we have the memo, which is the official communicating with employees. Also, channel your information to the departmental heads. If you have to communicate with the staff members there, the employees, we have the departmental heads. For me here, I'm also working at the national broadcaster here, the state broadcaster in Sierra Leone here. We have departmental heads. For example, we have the media department. We have the media director, the director of media. We have the heads, the head of newsroom, the head of current affairs. we have those the heads. So you channel the communication line between employees through those heads. You having those package structure, the hierarchy there, it bridges the gap between the employees there and also their subordinates there, and also the junior stuff like that. So that's kind of structure ensures that it's reduce the workload on the HR also. Communication is very key in that sort of human resources.
Really, that's really comprehensive education over there. So, Miss Yvonne, there's a professional saying that people don't leave jobs, they leave a bad boss. As an HR manager.
Yes.
Yes.
People don't leave their job. They leave
a bad boss. Yes. So, as an HR manager, what top level executive training do you give to CEOs or managers as far as their functions are concerned in their relations with employees?
Okay, let me put it this way. Of course, there are training workshops that different organizations bring, and then, you always have leadership trainings for your CEOs to go. But one of the most important trainings, I've been an HR person for the past 15 years, and one of the most important trainings that I like to schedule for the CEO is to change the concept or the mindset of that pyramid structure where you think that the boss is at the top and then immune or outside the organization. So the trainings I like to schedule, or I think most CEOs should be going for, is where they understand that they can't achieve anything except they have a successful team. So they should be going for trainings where it's not me and the boss, me, myself, and I, and then I'm the Lord and Master. We want to see trainings where, okay, let me use a simple context. For example, when you see pictures of someone like Mark Zuckerberg, the owner of Facebook, and see how simple it is. He has a pair of jeans walking into the office. He talks to people. As opposed where you see maybe in Africa, in Nigeria, the boss comes in with a babariga, and then you have no access to talk to him. There's a lot of protocol before he has access to the staff, or staff has access to him. That actually hinders the operational goals of the organization, because he's now looked at like a demigod. So I think African leaders, African CEOs have to get to the point where they turn that pyramid upside down, so that the point of the edge where it's sticking up becomes the bottom. And we know that their strength, which is they're the point holding that team up. So that pyramid, so the trainings they should be going for shouldn't be where the pyramid and then the point it's pointing to the top with CEO, MD at the top. But it should be like a upside down pyramid where the CEO at the bottom and he has the whole structure on top of his head, and he knows that he's only as successful as how efficient his team is. And I think that's what we should be preaching about, where a CEO can walk into a canteen and sit down with the cleaner and have a lunch or have dinner. I think it enhances communication in the in the workplace, and then also helps to show some kind of camaraderie between the CEO and the people that he's leading. So yeah, those are the kind of trainings that they should be going for.
Wow, interesting. So, Mr. Coker, based on what Madame Yvonne is saying, is it really something that Africans are accustomed to? Because per what she's saying, that would have been a lovely thing to have dinner with your CEO or lunch with your CEO. You can just, have personal talk beyond work environment. Do you think African CEOs have been able to accept this kind of bottom up approach, if I'm right to put it that way?
Yeah,
it's a big challenge in Africa. We have few exceptions anyway, but that's a big challenge for most CEOs and bosses. Some of them think they know it all. That's one key thing that is lacking there in Africa. But as for me, for example, as a boss, I'm the boss there. It's like I'm always the boss. The boss is always right. That's that kind of the mentality they have. Failing to accept that it's a winning situation. You can learn from even the cleaner there. And communication, oftentimes, see those cleaners we oftentimes ignore. They have information. They carry information.
Yeah, they do have information. Yeah,
absolutely.
So it's often sometimes bosses do ignore the cleaners. No, come on, I cannot encourage my cleaner. I cannot sit with my cleaner to eat. It's wrong. I can say for one, politeness, being polite with your subordinates, down to the staff know that they are really count. It helps the organization. It helps you. It gives also your subordinates the confidence. Be it a cleaner, be it a junior staff. It gives them the confidence to communicate. Not only cleaners, we have bosses, we have CEOs there who does not even come to them, even top managers. They do not encourage them. They don't get a better conversation away from being official. They don't have official conversation with them. Just even managers talk less of those who are down there, the cleaners, messengers, and all. That's one key challenge we are having here in Africa. You have superiors who think they are the bosses. They cannot go down for junior staff members. It is wrong. You have to build your fence around your team. Teamwork is very, very important in every institution. You have from the boss there, the CEO there, or the managing director there, the general there, to the least staff there. It's a teamwork. Every staff member is important in our organization. Every staff member, be it a cleaner, be it a junior staff, every cleaner is important. So it's very key for be it a managing director, be it the CEO, be it the director general, be it whatever position you are attaining. It's very key for you to communicate with your junior staff members. You go down to them, you get information from them. With that in hand, you can succeed easily.
Beautiful. Every staff is important regardless of their position. So, Ms. Yvonne, let me narrow it down to the current job ecosystem that we have. Of course, it's very evident that companies are competing for skillful talents to achieve their goals. Do you think that right now the new talents that public institutions are churning out meet the demands of the HR system?
Okay, let's put it this way. Yes and no. Society is evolving, technology is evolving. So yes, we're getting the right kind of people to do certain things. You're getting younger people who are more, especially in the public service, you're getting more younger people who are more technology savvy. So it kind of, eases out the work and then gives management what it needs. However, one of the biggest bane in the public service sector, especially in Africa and in Nigeria, is that the take-home package for public servants and civil servants are not encouraging. So when you have workers that have to face the reality of their economy, for example, currently now Nigeria is going through like 22-point-something% inflation rate. The cost of feeding has increased. The cost of fuel subsidy has just been removed about a month ago by the new administration that we had on the 29th of May. So all of this, at the end of the day, somehow does affect productivity of staff. Because you can't expect, like there's a saying that they say in Nigeria, the take-home package of the average civil servant can't even take him home when you put that in the reality of the economic challenges he has. So it's also important that sometimes HR too, even like we're supposed to be like the check and balances of the organization, to also address this fundamental issue and understand that people would only give as much as they feel they're valued. And unfortunately in Nigeria, in different sectors, we have a lot of people, we call it the Japa syndrome, where you have a lot of people leaving the country because they're looking for greener pastures. In the health sector, in various sectors, we have a lot of younger people who the public service actually needs to bring into the system are leaving and going to develop other West African countries because it's a better package for them. So I think that the private sector somehow pays more, but that is also a hindrance from people maximizing or from organizations getting the full potential of their staff. So the average civil servant might feel is enough to come into the office by maybe 9 or 10, sit down for a couple of hours, do nothing, and then just go home. As opposed where you have, he knows at the end of the day he's working hard because he knows that whatever effort he's putting is commensurate to the allowance of the wages he gets at the end of the month. Yeah.
Interesting. That's very deep. So, Mr. Coker, this gets us to my next question, where I will look at in the event where you are recruiting as HR and you are organizing interviews for prospective employees. Sometimes the rejections comes in when you are not able to meet your target audience. And sometimes you ask questions like, why should we hire you? It is a very deep question that most prospective employees fail to give you the right answer. What do you look out for when you ask such a question?
It's a tricky question.
He's laughing.
Sometimes
I think the first answer you should say is that I need a job.
I need a job.
I need a job.
Yeah.
Well, sometimes we consider the confidence there, or from the applicant there. We consider your confidence level. We look at what you bring to the table. We have people that have been, like I recall vividly, there was a time I asked someone that question, and he was like giving me answers that is out of this world. Imagine someone coming into the text to you is salary scale. I'm expecting this kind of package. I'm expecting blah 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 facility. You don't even know, as me as a HR sitting there, whether I have those facilities. So now on that day, I was like, who is this guy? What are you saying? So we also consider your output, your communication line is being considered when we ask questions like that. We consider your output, your confidence level, your way of communication, what you can bring to the table. It's very key, because mind you, when we are recruiting, we are going for someone who can add to the institution, who can add value to the institution. Not the institution adding value to you. That doesn't make sense. If we are employ someone that can make sense, that can add value to the institution, not the other way around. Yes, of course, oftentimes institution also it's a learning process, it's a learning field that we have employees who are coming in without more experience, we can learn on the job. But again, it's people take from people. But I cannot employ someone who definitely does not suit into the vision or the mission statement of the institution. No. So when we ask those questions, we look at the confidence level, we look at what can offer, we look at your potentials. Then we can say, oh no, this person is not up to what we want, our requirement, precisely, but it can be tailored. We can plan a bit to how we want the individual. We have people who come without experience. We have people also coming from the university there without no experience. We have people who have been in the institution with a vast experience, but have never darkened the doors of any university. We considered all those parameters also. So that is why sometimes again we can be flexible when we are employing.
Wow, interesting. Interesting. So follow up on that, Miss Yvonne. We all acknowledge that salary is just one of the factors that will make an employee accept a job or not. And of course, based on what Mr. Koka is saying, perhaps the prospective employee mentioned a figure that perhaps the HR is not even receiving. So in that event, what advice are you going to give prospective employees to create a balance in the event such a question is asked?
Okay, let's say it in a holistic way. First of all, if anybody's coming in for a job that I'm not even earning, you're in the wrong place. First of all, I think that's the truth. You know, the sad reality is that we have a high unemployment rate in Africa. So you should be lucky you even have a job in the first place. That's just one basic unfortunate fact. Secondly, I will take it down to our educational system. And then what do I mean by this? We have educational system in Africa that focuses more on curriculum as opposed to focusing on skills development. So you have people that have read courses with economics, business management, whatever it is, and then they just know the practical or the theory part of it. So when they come for the interview, they don't know how to translate that knowledge. Communication is a very important thing, and I tell people that sometimes you see people who will get a job, and then maybe they had the worst result in the university. And you'll see first-class graduates that can't get a job because they don't know how to express themselves, express their thoughts, they don't know how to communicate their ideas. So communication is very important. Whenever it's coming for a job, you must know how to communicate. You're selling yourself. I tell people, you're the commodity on sale here. You know, when you go for an interview. So the first thing you should do, research the company you're going to, find out what they're looking for, what their mission statement is, what their, values are. have that general idea. And all this on social media platforms, Google is friendly. I say Google is my best friend. So people should make Google their best friend, You can always get information there about the organizations you want to go. But like I said, our university system in Africa, but I want to link to Nigeria, should also be training people to the point that when they come out, they have life skills. It's life skills that get you jobs, especially when you're getting it on merit. You have to be able to sell yourself. You have to be able to sell your point. You have to let the organization understand that you're an additional value. I mean, there's a lot of garbage around. Nobody wants to, have to deal with that. There's sometimes you see people who have been in the service for 20 years and that even using something as simple as Microsoft Word is like rocket science. And there are young people that have no experience at all, but because they're maybe technology savvy or they're more in tune with life challenges, they can come in and say, look, why don't we do it this way? Why don't we do it that way? And then they bring results. So it's come see, come sa, sell yourself is what I say. If you can sell yourself, then you get the best buyer to buy you. So another form of slavery, you're selling yourself. You don't have a slave master driving you. You're the slave dealer and you're selling yourself to that organization. So they must see value that you're bringing into them.
Let me ask you this question again, that in that event, why do HR also ask prospective employees whether they can work under pressure? What is the motivation behind that?
I think it's just, how we have like check boxes that you tick rather. So I think it's just like an old conventional style of HR. Okay, can you work under pressure? I'm waiting to see one person who will come out and say, no, I can't work under pressure. So sometimes even on HR, I say, you know what, ask the right questions. Don't ask irrelevant questions. Don't ask stereotype questions. Can you work under pressure? Of course. Are you a go-getter? Of course. Nobody's going to come out and say, no, I'm not a go-getter.
Yeah.
I can't work under pressure. Nobody's going to come out and say that. Do you have leadership skills? Everybody's going to say yes. So I think HR should be asking direct questions. Okay, we're employing you as, let's use a cameraman. Or we're employing you as a production officer. So what can you bring to the organization? So I think it behoves on us HR people to ask realistic questions. Let me give you a simple scenario. So rather than asking someone, can you work under pressure? I can ask, okay, how many children do you have? How old are they? Now already that gives an idea of the stress you have to deal with at home. Let's say, for example, interviewing a female candidate, and then we're chit-chatting, and I say, "Oh, how many kids do you have?" And she says, "I have 4, or I have 5." I suppose someone who has 1 or 2. The next question might be, "How old are they?" Without discriminating anybody, I'm looking at, okay, if someone tells me she has a 6-month-old baby, I should automatically know that she's already stressed out because she has to deal with maybe balancing the kid to go to daycare, come to work. She has to leave early, pick the kid, or vice versa. Are you a single parent for a man? Some of these personal questions can help you understand what the person can deal with, what the person can achieve. So, for example, if you have a nursing mother who shows up in the office by 7 o'clock for an interview, it shows you that she's able to manage a home front and still be able to come for that interview. She can come to the office every day. But when you have someone who comes in late, and then, you can tell that person can't work under pressure. What pressure? If you're having pressure with your husband or your wife or your spouse or fiance or boyfriend or family, it must translate to your work ethic.
Yeah.
So I think HR should learn to ask, personal or, not the conventional stereotype questions. How resilient are you? Can you work under pressure? Are you a team leader? Everybody
we rely on our service.
Exactly. Yeah.
All right. So, of course, Thank you very much. So our time is almost getting up. So I'll ask my last but one question before I take your final recommendations. Mr. Coker, are you there, please? Yes, okay, fine. So Mr. Coker is here. So Mr. Coker, the question is that obviously due to technology and advanced knowledge, there are times work can be done remotely. In your view, should that be encouraged in a work setting than always the physical presence of workers at all times?
Absolutely sure it can work that way. We're now living in a digital world. For example, I was just concluded an election. We as a state professor, we have a regional station, top station, wherein we had reporters in a different industries. We have different reporters. They are like working in the headquarters. Basically, the communication now, technology can make it very easy. You can be at the very end of the region and make reports at the headquarters here. So the technology now has made it easy. We have our equipment work for the election, wherein for us to collect all the other data, the information. We sent out our reporters who went out at the field, gathered information, but they are like sending the raw data here at the newsroom there. Then we are here, we are like doing the editors are here. We did everything to ensure it's being translated to a very good outcome.
Yeah, okay, sure. So Miss Yvonne, please take your view on that question.
Okay, so let me give you the smartest answer. I'm talking to you. It's just working from remote places.
Yes.
You're able to have your radio program and you're talking to two people from different parts of Africa. You're talking to me from Nigeria. You're talking to Mr. Coker from Sierra Leone. And you're working. So it means that wherever people are, people can work from where they are. During the COVID period, that was a very good time where it showed that a lot of people can work, from remote places. And I think it's something that the African community should imbibe as a way of enhancing productivity. I realize that it's not your physical presence that makes things happen. Like I said, our radio program, we're doing it now. You're there, I'm here. But, we're working. So, yes, it's something that Africans should imbibe. Africa needs to, especially public sectors and African communities, they need to upgrade their technology to the point where you have staff coming in and then work, or staff coming when they need to be there physically. A reporter can be at home, he's finished covering his event, and then he's sending his story online. He doesn't physically need to. The presence of maybe news and current affairs can get his news report, click, upload it, and send it to the server in the office, and then the head of news and current affairs can pick it up. So I think, yes, it's something that Africans should be exploring, especially in Nigeria. I made reference earlier on to the increase in fuel prices, and that has affected transportation a lot for a lot of civil servants, especially when their salaries have been increased. So some states in Nigeria have said, okay, they're cutting down the work days to 3 days a week. But I feel that other than just saying 3 days a week, because you want to maximize productivity, they should be able to say, okay, look, Yvonne, you're at home and there's this report you need to work on. Why don't you send it? And then we can have management meetings on Zoom. We can have management meetings on Skype. Technology has gotten us to the point where we should be exploring some of all this technology, to work remotely online and then still have a high level of productivity. That's my take on that.
Wow, that's so beautiful. So thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for joining us here on Take the Lead on West Africa Democracy Radio, broadcasting on 94.9 FM.
Thank you so much for having us.
So on our next segment for today, we'll be talking to Jeremiah Cooper, the regional coordinator of the Group of 77 Disabled Center in Liberia. He recounts his touching life story and opens up on what motivated him to desist from street begging to seek higher education. Please take a listen.
I was 17 years when I got my disability and become who I am today in a confined in wheelchair. And I was working with crutches 2022. I have an accident. I broke my legs March 24th, 2022.
Was it a difficult task to accept the situation or the condition?
It is very much difficult. And something has been added to it again by confining myself in wheelchair. It is very difficult. I know. As long as life is there, we give God the glory. That is why I said to myself, I don't care what situation one to hold me down, but God will not make it because God sent me on earth for a purpose. I must complete the purpose for which God sent me for.
12 years in the streets begging for survival. How was it like? Is it something easy to go in the street and beg for survival? Or do you regret maybe those 12 years in the streets?
Very regretful. Somebody will give me $10, motivational talk. Some people when they come, like my last money I gave it to you, so they say people y'all get wish, y'all can take people money and go do so and so thing with it. So it was, sometimes when I sit down and say, why God should I be here? So I decided to pray. When I go, I get my bishopric, tell them they pray along with me. So I was opportune to get a job. Through the little job we are doing, my family, they are surviving and my children are going to school.
You decided to move on to bigger opportunities. For example, you went to the University of Liberia. What exactly motivated you to leave the streets to go back to school?
One thing I tell people, society that we are in today, be a condition, you have to pay your quota towards society. Not every day society will pay quota to you. It means that when you are coming up, you should always have big dream. What you will do for yourself and be focused in society to know you and recognize you.
So since you enrolled at the University of Liberia, give us some of the challenges you've been confronted with, because I know most of the structures we have in this country are not disabled friendly. So what are some of the difficulties you've been faced with?
Being a normal institution, a university in a wheelchair is a challenge, because in Liberia at large, there is no accessibility when it comes to public building for persons with disability, more especially in wheel. When I was on my crutches, sometimes I was in TH13, TH12 upsteps. I used to use the crutches to go upstairs. But when I have the accident in wheelchair, it is difficult because to even go in your classroom, it is not easy. So we have our association, we call it ULA, University Association with students with disability. When we came together as a disabled person, we decided to engage the university administration to see how best we can get easy access to our classes.
So you started to advocate for reforms?
Reform right away, we started advocating. As I speak to you, everything is, they are doing it gradually. The other day we were on a dialogue forum, because we are coming to open school now. So these are some of the things we put before the administration. I cannot go to school. Why if I want to free myself, use the bathroom, and the wheelchair cannot go there? Should I crawl and go there? No. So we put a plaque and it was welcoming and they saw reason in it.
Why do you think we should have a representation of the legislature for PWDs?
Because you will be able to advocate for your person. You will be able to put bill on the floor to develop your people. You will be able to talk for them. But who are those that are there? Now I'm talking. Nobody. If I want to go there now and talk for disabled people, even to write letter and carry to some representative, the entire senator, as long as that person bearing Jeremiah's name is in wheelchair, the security will first tell you, say the man are here. And send the busman go, we know you will come. Sometimes they can be sitting down there. Sometimes too, they give mandate to the security. We don't want to see no disabled people around here today. You understand? So these are the things that we are facing in this country. The student living with disability at the University of Liberia, every month we receive $25 USD for our transportation to enable me go to school. For me not to sit down home and say no transportation today. I should be able to spend that money and go acquire knowledge.
So that was Jeremiah Cooper, a regional coordinator of the Group of 77 Disabled Center in Liberia. So in rounding today's package, here is the take home. To be able to have a good human resource management skills, please keep these tips handy. First of all, you need training and developmental skills. Don't forget to be empathetic and also employ organizational skills. Business management skills and communication skills is very, very crucial. To have a human resource management skills, decision-making skills, financial skills, and finally, leadership skills should all come in handy. And that is how we wrap up today's edition of Take the Lead on West Africa Democracy Radio, focused on human resource management. I am James Ajapon, your host. Remember to follow all our conversations on all our social media platforms on Twitter, Instagram at WADR News, and on Facebook, West Africa Democracy Radio English Service, and stream live on WADR.org. You can as well leave me a message via WhatsApp at +221 781 845 421. Let me take it again, +221 781 845 421. Just begin your message with the hashtag Take the Lead, and I will definitely respond to you. Enjoy your day.